But you see, what I didn't realize at the time and what Kevin had to learn the hard way is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset the alphabet people. You know who I mean. Those people that took 20% of the alphabet for themselves. I'd say the letters, but I don't want to conjure their anger. It's too late now. I'm talking about them L's and them B's.
Change and just to be with women. Now she's lesbian. Wow. Why can't you just be a man and be with a woman? Even if you prefer her strapping up and doing you, but why do you need to go through, you know what I mean? There's men who do that.
Yes, but if you just want the parts. If you want the parts.
I can't keep up.
Crazy, right?
I can't keep up, bro. Because what do you call that then? Is she not?
Yeah, you can't. Hey,
there's no labeling. There's no
LGBTQ.
That's why. Yes, there's a lot more letters in the LGBTQ.
Yeah.
Interesting fact. One of the former members of G Unit, Young Buck.
Yeah.
Young Buck.
Yeah, I used to see a trans person.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, so I think it's she-male, but I think that's a bad term. We don't use that term.
Yeah.
But a trans person, so a woman with a dick.
So it was no, but it could be a trans. It's a trans female.
Generally.
It's a trans female.
Yeah, but he saw a woman with a dick. Young Buck.
Yeah,
dog.
Yes.
When she came out and, you know what I mean, 50 Cent, I remember he was dragging him.
Yeah.
Drag.
50 always does that.
Hasn't Offset also been with
Offset?
Yeah, Offset.
Offset.
Yeah. Now, during Cardi B. Now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Offset.
Yeah.
There's so much allegations.
Wayne Rooney as well.
Wayne Rooney.
Yes. That time he bought.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's where he gets his ball control from. He's laying on a men's chest, Manchester, and he's a Manchester legend. Oh, Rooney!
Boom,
Oh, man.
Wow.
All right, so the SolPhendukas have announced that they will now have a category that is inclusive.
Hello. This is Tony the Don. Thank you for joining me. It's the Takeover, bitches. Yeah, man. Thank you for joining me. Please do like, please do comment, and please do subscribe to the page. It really does help us. We are growing, even though at a slow pace, but steadily we are getting up there. So for the first story today, I just wanted to touch on one of my heroes, Mac G, in terms of doing podcasting, which is what I'm doing on this channel. So basically, Mac G has been trending for the past 2 days, basically from the episode that they uploaded on Monday, the 25th of January. So on this episode, as you can see, they have said a few things which got a whole community up in arms, which is the the community. So basically, what had happened was that, of course, they have their Monday show where it's him and SolPhenduka, and they just chat about random stuff and so forth. And that's one of the segments that they did chat about. So before I start, I just want to say something. You know, as a black man, and who knows something about oppression, who knows something about being judged, how you look or how you behave and so forth. I think we've got a bigger role to play in terms of showing solidarity with the gays and lesbians and other groups, the minority groups in our communities, since we know and we understand how it feels like and what our previous generations have gone through. And so that's the first thing. I think everyone deserves to respect, and it should actually start there. So let's get to the storm of the week, which is this McG episode. All right. Now, basically, before we start, for those people who don't know, McG is a DJ, as well as used to be a DJ host on radio stations. I think he's been on 94.7 or 5FM, one of the two, and of course he was let go there. But the one that stands out was the one from when he was on YFM. He's a former DJ at YFM, where he was also let go for some homophobic situation that came about back in the day. So I'll touch on that a little bit later. So after all, he sort of like got blackballed in the media or mainstream media, and he couldn't find a job. So he started his podcast, which is doing very well. Like I said, he's one of my heroes in terms of doing what we're trying to do. One of the best podcasts, and actually I think it is the biggest podcast in the country currently. And doing well for himself. He started it, with his old friend Ulen, who's actually left, and SolPhenduka has come through now. They've also got another member of the team but you don't see her, called the Ghost Lady, and she was actually part of the conversation that actually went down on Monday. So what has happened is that when he grew the podcast, I think last year, that's when he got involved and got sponsorship from All Mutual, which is the biggest sponsor on the channel, the podcast. They also do EMT masterclasses on behalf of All Mutual, where they interview people, in the limelight in terms of media and all of that, and they give their input in terms of how to get into media, how to do your job, and how and all of those things, like the finer detail of actually being a media personality and so forth, and whether it's radio, whether it's TV, and so forth like that. He's also associated with SuperBet, which is a betting company, mostly known for sports betting, and sometimes I think late last year, they were doing a show in the offices of SuperBet. So that's another one. And also late last year, he was actually chosen to be part of the program for YouTube Black Voices class. All right. So basically, YouTube chooses a couple of content creators on their platform who they're going to actually support through mentorship, as well as maybe helping them out with equipment and so forth like that. So it's a good thing to have that, to be part of that program. All right. So what has happened is that after the clip, the community, the lesbian and gay and LGBT, all those guys, the community actually reported the clip to All Mutual. All Mutual was actually the first company to actually react to that, and what they did is that they actually released a statement where they say McG's podcast in reference to the LGBTQI community. All Mutual has seen the discussion that took place on McG's podcast. As a responsible business that fully respects the rights of everyone, we have decided to terminate the relationship with McG with immediate effect. We distance ourselves from the harmful commentary against the LGBTQI community and humanity at large. To say the least, McG's commentary was both ignorant and insensitive, and clearly showing that much education needs to happen, especially in a country where people continue to be ostracized and killed, abused, and raped for being who they are. As a country, it is our duty to educate ourselves and hold each other accountable to ensure that everyone's rights are protected. So basically, All Mutual is saying, okay, we don't want to be associated with McG after he said that, because we're part of a community where we have to respect. We're part of the South African community where we have to actually respect people's rights and people's way of living. And of course, if you understand, All Mutual is actually mostly known for insurance, their insurance products and so forth. So you can understand that their offering and their service base goes across board. So you can understand and you can see why they had to act fast, because if there's a community within their client base that is affected by this, and by association, sort of like enabling it, because they're the biggest sponsor on the podcast, they had to do something about it. So that was the first one to go. And of course, Twitter was ablaze with comments and so forth. But what actually stood out for me is that even some celebrities actually got on board and actually started saying something. The first one that I saw was Thando Tapuri, who said, "Discrimination in the guise of being raw and unfiltered. Wish I could unsee that McG podcast. Disgusted." Right? And the one which I think was more, how can I put this? I think it was more stinging, because it came from Remy Chouane, who was actually been on the show. And she says, McG Unleashed, no, that episode was not raw and unfiltered, but disrespectful and discriminatory. As an LGBTQI plus ally, I humbly ask that you take my episodes down. I honestly thought you had a good thing going. How unfortunate, but homophobia will never be a joke. Unacceptable. So, as you can see, she's been on the show and she wants her episodes taken down on the back of that situation with McG. So, let me just give... before we go on, they also announced on the show that they're going to be doing sort of like a ladies only podcast, which is going to be under McG on YouTube. So it's going to be hosted on McG on YouTube. I think the production house is also going to be doing it. So basically it's going to be the Ghost Lady, Dineo Mashego, and Zanele Potelo. And what had happened is that what I picked up is one of the Twitter people asked who's Zanele, and they said, "Hi Zanele, please confirm whether you'll still be joining McG's Unleashed podcast." And quick answer, she said, "No, I will not be." So as you can see, that also now is affecting future plans for the growth of actually the platform that he was trying to build. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that when one of the members is actually pulling out. So we'll see what happens to that. My basic thoughts on this is basically McG has to seriously consider, in terms of what they speak about as well. I mean, they can speak about anything. I see now that the episode has actually been edited and the part which was the problem has been edited out. So I'm thinking to myself, they should have done that beforehand, or maybe they should have someone in the team who's more, aware of the issues that they talk about and see which ones might get them in trouble. So it's sort of like somebody who can do a sensitive test on whatever they're doing on the show and see what can get them in trouble and, edit it out. Because now, as you can see, he's lost the first sponsor, which is, I think, is the first fallout. And I think people like YouTube will have to say something. People like Superpets will have to say something about this issue. All right. And going back to the issue that he had with at YFM, where he was also fired for sort of like homophobic situation. So, if you're not aware, what happened is that it says, according to a transcript of the afternoon broadcast of the McG Unleashed show, Mokwevo, which is McG, began by stating, "Almost time to check out what's happening in the world of news. But before we do that, now I thought that I hate gay people, but hey, this guy is on another level. While mocking a gay colleague, producer Junior Diko, in studio, Mukwewu proceeded to play audio clips of what has been described as the chairman of the National Task Force Against Homosexuality in Uganda, Pastor Martin Sempa, talking about the evils of homosexuality. In the clip, Sempa is talking explicitly about gay sexual practices, including anal licking, eating the poop, and fisting. So basically, as you can see, that's you can have a commentary on what the news are, which was this guy talking about gay stuff and all of that, and what he doesn't like about it. But when you say, but before we do that, now I thought that I hate gay people, you are actually putting yourself in the middle of the whole thing. So what happened after that is that, of course, YFM got fined 15,000 rand, and of course, YFM then got rid of McG. All right. Now, the BCCSA actually adjudicated the case. So I'm thinking to this. I think he needs to be more sensitive. If I was him, I would actually not even touch on these topics, man. They're too close to home. I think, considering that he's had issues from 2010, all right, and there's a clip that I'm gonna play now where they actually have a view on BCCSA, which is actually part of the same episode that aired on Monday. So here we go.
Hey guys, good.
We good, man.
Dini.
Tell us more about this
I've been hanging
podcast.
around, listening to all this nonsense.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys are going in. Hey, Ooh, how you guys have never been to the VCCSA?
What? We are not governed. BCCSA can eat a dick. We are not governed within the laws of BCSA. Oh, those people have given me a tough time.
Hey, me too, bro.
Shit my pants.
Yes, as you.
Me too.
Camden took YFM, moved it straight next door to the BCSA.
Just for you.
Yeah, so when so I got in trouble once on radio, and it was just a walk next door.
Yeah.
Now BCCSA can go to hell. This is not BCCSA jurisdiction.
This is why you guys are so wild.
Now, as you can see from that episode, these guys, they feel they can't be, they're not under jurisdiction of BCCSA, which can be true. But I'll say to you, you might not be under the BCCSA jurisdiction, but you are still within the community. And even worse, you've got sponsors. So basically, the sponsors that you have are your BCCSA. So you need to be very careful in terms of, firstly, if you want a different feel, and if you want to keep on doing what you want to do, the show, or how you want to do the show, maybe you need to consider a sponsor that is more aligned to you. People like Home Mutual are not going to be able to stand for this. They are part of the community. They've got a reputational risk should they let this happen. So as much as you are not regulated as other forms of media like television and radio in SA, I think if you're getting money and you've got sponsorship, you need to be really careful. Firstly, who you get in bed with. Secondly, how you actually do your show. All right. So that's my take on the whole thing, man. I think it is a learning curve. I hope that this is not the end of the podcast, because I do know the expenses have gone up. With growth, the expenses go up. But he's got a full-on production team that actually looks after the takes shoots and all of that. The podcast. He's got a full-on co-host. He's actually growing the platform, introducing another podcast with the ladies, which is called On the Table. So at the end of the day, I know this is going to affect the All Mutual situation, is going to affect the income for the podcast, but I hope that it doesn't go away. I hope we do need, different voices, but we really do need to be responsible how we exercise our rights and how we exercise our voices, and we don't discriminate or we don't make fun of other people, and so forth. Right. So, guys, let me know what you think. I think I've put my thoughts there, and it's kind of sad, because in a way we are colleagues, even though we don't even know each other. But with everything, man, your actions have got consequences. You need to make sure that whatever you do, you can stand for it, and if you can't, maybe stay away from it. But also, just don't be prejudiced and don't discriminate against other people. Please let me know in the comments below. Please do like, please do subscribe. It really does help. And let's have a chat below and see what you guys think about this G situation. Cheers.